Interesting quote.
From who? Doc?
Robert Parrish said that Jordan wasn't the GOAT in a lot of situations. He played with him in his last championship. And the Celtics did beat him in 86, even though he had that great 63-point game. So Boston beat them 3-0, actually. Bird killed him.
Did he just text you that?
No.
You got a notification.
It just happened, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't always the GOAT.
No.
Only most of the time?
I don't think any of the guys that played in the 90s were better than any of the guys that played in the 80s. And, Jordan did play in the 80s, but you could say he didn't have a good team around him, but he led the league in scoring every year. And he couldn't get by Boston, or like Wilkes will tell you that. We had him on. And the Pistons physically mauled them, let alone beat. Rodman said it. He goes, I played on, the 80s Pistons, 90s Bulls, the 80s Pistons would have killed him. He said it straight out. He was right. That's about time when he was right.
Well, here we go. Going in the time machine, folks, here on the sports show with Bob Spino, where Jordan wasn't always the GOAT. And You make a bold claim, Bob, saying the 90s players did not outshine the 80s players.
Well, it's not a bold quote. It's a reality. Actually, if you play the NBA game today, the 2K, I think it's called, I had one friend that plays the Celtics, and in like the 10 years he's played, he's only ever lost one game as that team, because you can play an oldies team and make them yours. That 85-86 Celtic team was the best team of all time. You had to be to stand up to the Lakers. That year I wanted the Lakers in it, and Houston took them out in the playoff game. Because I wanted revenge from the year before when Magic cried and they got the 3-2, the 2-3-2 changed. Because now it's 2-2-1-1-1, and that's what it was before that. The Magic didn't like that. And it ended up benefiting the Lakers. That's how they won that year.
So how long did the 2-3 what was it? It was a 2-3-2. It lasted a while.
It originally, for years when Bill Russell played, it was 2-3-2. And then it went to 2-2-1-1-1. And it stayed that way until 1985, because the Lakers were mad because Boston beat them the year before. And so, whatever Magic wants, Magic gets. And they changed the format. And it ended up benefiting them the next year. Because Boston played a great Game 5. It should have been in Boston. They were winning 99% of the game. But because the game was in L.A., the Lakers pulled it out at the end. The Game 6, Boston was flat. But if that game was supposed to be on the road like the year before, you could have been flat because you would have been up 3-2. You would have beat them in Game 7 like you did in the 83-84 season. That would have happened a second time.
So the 2-3-2 favors the team with the worst record.
Yes, and Bill Russell said no when he played, but it's not fair to ask Bill Russell because he won on his court, on your court. He won down the basketball courts down the street. You had a game and he was playing it and he was winning. It doesn't matter. So he won in the 8th grade gym. So that's just the way he was. But yes, it definitely, because Game 5 is so important, as we found out this year. How Milwaukee won the Game 5. So it's really important. And they had it home, right? Which set them up for an easier Game 6 because Phoenix didn't shoot well. And even if Phoenix did, they would have went back for 7 and would have won.
Well, we have a guest who is just about to join us this moment, folks. His name's Doc Walker. He's a Super Bowl champion, and he is also a prominent sports commentator. Joining us now here on the Sports Show with Bob Spino. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Doc Walker.
Yeah, test 1 2.
Yeah, we got you now.
Successful.
How you doing?
Test 1 2 right there.
Hey, I word UCLA have for you. I word UCLA. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Got the Bruins on display.
We got the Bruins going.
I'm outnumbered again, once again.
Yes, he's the Syracuse. This is my friend Rob.
It's okay, the orange, man. Hey, big respect for the orange.
Hey, appreciate it, Doc. Love to hear that.
I'll tell you what. I got a chance to do. I did the ACC for a good while in the Big East one year, and I got to go to 44, the cafes, the bars.
Oh,
There's nothing like it. When they host a big event, I was there for Georgetown, Syracuse, when they shut it down. I mean, I've been there. It is so much fun. Football, they don't get enough credit. And I really thought that they're moving. I don't know if they can get over that hump, but much respect.
Well, back then, we definitely didn't invest enough into the football program. Now we're kind of playing catch-up. We did renovate the dome. I think we want to put a winner out there. But perfect timing to have you on the show, Doc. What's your take on all the conference realignment?
Well, it's about money. And I
Yes.
think that the NCAA has effed up the whole thing. I mean, it should be,
Yeah.
you're talking about 14. It should have been 8. And I think eventually it may get to 12. But you can't say what won't work, because Loyola of Chicago in hoops is a prime example of what's possible, because it's still a team sport. If it were diving or it was golf or whatever, tennis, I would have no qualms. But you can't predict what a good team can do. A unit that sticks together, that works together. That's how you win. That's how we beat Ohio State, an undefeated team, when they were number 1 in the country. But you got to give people an opportunity. And so who's to say that a BYU, where half the team is 30, but I'm just saying, who's to say that Utah or somebody couldn't come up with a super team if they got a great quarterback and some great minds on the sideline? Anything's possible. And I think it should expand at least to 8. And it's going to end up with maybe 4 super conferences, and it would be good. I miss West Coast dominance, and I think this is a way to get back into it.
Don't we all? Now, I got to tell you, I was in high school when you played Ohio State, okay? And everybody was coming up to me going, if they knew I was UCLA, you don't have a chance. And I go, we're going to beat them. I know it. Because I just trusted you guys. I trusted Vermeil. And didn't earlier in the year they beat you? Did they not beat you earlier?
Yeah, beat us home in the Coliseum, yeah.
That's right.
And Terry Donahue, God may he rest in peace, but his first season, we went there and the 10-10 tie, which we hated. But that's the kind of level that the programs were on. Now, can you imagine going toe-to-toe with Ohio State now? And that's what it was then. USC was basically Alabama.
Right.
And everything was reversed. And so we were like Georgia, one of those teams, very, very competent, could win if you stay injury-free. The key to it is depth. And that's what Alabama has. And that's what Clemson has. When I don't mean just depth in bodies, I mean 1 4-star, 5-star guy gets hurt, another one replaces it. That's the difference. And most people don't have high numbers. They don't have 4s or 5s backing up, whereas Clemson and Alabama do. And once upon a time, USC had the same thing. So we've seen it, but Don James showed us what Washington can do. They broke the seal. Stanford has done it. They've broken through the seal.
Yes.
And done Rose Bowls and won. And that's what I'm disappointed about. And then Herman did a great job with the Sun Devils. I remember Dick Tomey, took Desert Storm and had them punching people in the face, had them knocking on the door. Because all those guys can coach. The problem with the whole system is that you got a lot of people who can't coach. They have jobs.
You got that.
That's the problem.
Yeah. You know what? At that time, you guys were you had the coach. I mean, Vermeil was the coach. And he was on our show. Wow, is he tough? Ooh, is he tough? I said to him, I go, how you doing, coach? And he went, I have trouble getting on Zoom. I go, I hate Zoom. I'll beat it up right after we get off. But he's great.
He came on just like this. How you doing, coach? Not good.
Not good.
It was a little hairy.
Well, that's TD. TD's honest, man.
Yes.
That's the thing about Terry. There was no second version. He was what he was, is what he is, and just a grinder. I mean, that's where I saw the definition of grind. He was the offensive line coach under Dick Vermeil, and that unit was unbelievable. I saw this guy working from the side corner of my eye. I go, oh, my God. And we had Frank Gans, who to me was a god. And again, so you got styles. When you start talking about, you show me a winner, I'll show you about 6 of assistant coaches that are potential head coaches. They may not want to be, they may not be given an opportunity to be one, but they have the IQ. And the best thing the great coaches have is an ability to convince you to get off your behind and become the best you can become. That's it.
Don't you think it's a little harder now because the kids don't want to respond like you guys did? My brother talks about that all the time. You just think
the 50s had people, they thought, look, we were the brats to the 60s group.
Right.
It's no different.
Okay.
They thought we were getting something away with that. The practice was shortened down. Hell Week was not a month. It was a week. They bitched about us. It always goes there. The other generations always think that the guys behind them are soft. No, you're just talented. And we had great people that could communicate to you. They're not hard to coach. They want to get the hell to a new lifestyle.
Yeah.
The pros now, and that we're seeing coaching millionaires is the next skill set you have to have.
Now
that's where Belichick dominates. See, that's where, because it don't matter how much you make with him, he treats them all the same. And he's able to get the results. Whereas in Green Bay, they can't even get the quarterback to come to work.
And at first, even if you don't like it, you'll start to respect it. I know Iverson hated with Larry Brown at first. Really started to respect him after a while. Because
they're boys now.
The one thing I noticed is when you're a tougher coach, you get the best out of it, and they respect you at the end of the day, even if they hate it while they're doing it. And they get the most success and the most victories. That's what does it. That has not changed. Well, I totally agree. I mean,
the workers, Dick Vermeil, just, man. I used to say, man, I ain't never seen nothing like him. Then I got Joe Gibbs, and they're just alike. Joe Gibbs slept at the facility for 3 days a week.
Right.
He slept there. He didn't go home. He sent a video, VHS at the time, to his family. So when you come to work and the head coach's car is still in the lot and it's got dew on the car, you got to check yourself. That's not going to make you want to come home from the club at 3 or 4 a.m. You can't even face yourself thinking that way. When you see these guys give the way some of them give, the great ones, they earn it. They earn it. And be able to have sustained success is the mark of a true champion and a builder of men. And it's rare. It's rare in government. It's rare in business. I don't know why everybody thinks it's automatic. I mean, it's just not. And so what we appreciate, and the Olympics is a great time watching the Olympics now. Imagine training 3.5 years for one game. I can't even imagine that. And that's what these athletes put them through.
Right. It's over like that. Now, you play with the Redskins. You played on the Hogs. You were one of the main Hogs with Riggins. And what was that like? You guys are awesome.
Well,
I remember watching
Joe Bugle. God rest his soul. Right. Unbelievable communicator, taskmaster. His unit worked hard than anybody's on the team. Right. And yet he got results. And those guys loved him like a father figure. These guys, unselfish across the board. You know, you can tell a good team. If I go look at a team, I can figure out a team in 20 minutes.
Right.
And all I got to do is go to the chow room. I go to the chow room. Like if all the white guys are at one table and all the black guys at one table, if all the kickers and specialists at one table, you ain't beating nobody.
That's right.
And I go in and I see total integration and, and respect, but trash talking. I mean, always picking on somebody. And sometimes that's love. It's love. And it's like, that's when I can go and see a unit, and it's about, and when the best players on your team, like John Shira, was the hardest working guy I've ever seen in my life.
He was the quarterback for you.
He was the quarterback and the star, and he earned every bit of it. I wouldn't want to trade places with him for nothing in this world. As hard as I saw that guy being driven. And then Joe Theismann, champion, won on every level. He's a champion. He's a leader. And then, we got rookie. You can win young. Mark May, first round pick rookie, Russ Grimm, Bosco. We had to, and you got to have a little bit of sauce. And then that was George Stark. So you got to have a veteran guy who's been there and tell you what bar to go into, what bar not to go into. So you got to have all this information. Yeah. And then you have to have a little bit of fear that your job is on the line. And that means you got a competitive outfit. Nobody gives jobs away. I don't care. When Joe Gibbs we had a wide receiver, Powell, he cut him a second-round pick. He cut him in camp. We knew the guy couldn't play. The guy wasn't ready to play, probably could play. He was not mature enough and ready to play. He could not remember to play. He break the huddle and go check. They do what's that? He was not in the right place. And so we're all watching. Everybody knows who can play and who's struggling. Joe cut him. That's when we knew. It don't matter, dog. Because usually management might say, hey, we invest. They don't care nothing about that. Draft picks are only, I always say out of college, whatever you got, whatever you were drafted, it's the byproduct of your collegiate effort. It has nothing to do with the pros. Zero. Right. And so the guys that understand that are able to prosper. Now you got to go prove yourself on a whole different level. So I don't care. And the guy dumb enough to drive up in a Porsche and has not earned a job yet, he's an idiot. Right. I mean, he just absolutely, I can look at every level
different.
I say, guys, save your luxury stay for your house in your garage. Right now, we got millionaires on this team. They don't give a damn about your Corvette or whatever. What you got to prove is that you can cover a kick on special teams, that you can get a backside block. How many times do you get 2 blocks on one play? That's all we care about. We care about maximum effort. And the guys who do that, guys end up buying a beer for life.
What are the teams that you see now that have that cohesiveness, they have that unity, fully integrated, really shine?
Well,
that
again,
you've seen?
Nothing you can do. I can't judge your family from outside your house. I saw Tampa's results. I saw them play Washington. I saw them throughout the year. The best thing happened to them was they dipped. They went through a tough period, and then they pulled themselves out of it. And they have a coach who's maybe the best communicator, among the best in all of sports, because their head coach is colorblind. And you cannot say that about everybody in today's game. No. So you show me a guy who's the offensive coordinator, special teams coach, defensive coordinator, all African-Americans. Okay, right. This league is still stuck on stupid in a lot of ways in terms of upper development, managerial, and lack of owners of color. Tampa Bay, they're a whole different breed. That's why everybody resigned. That never happens. Somebody's going to be selfish. Not there. Not with Arians. Not with the group he has and the leader he has in Tom. And that kid that wears 45 at linebacker. Woo! I'm telling you what, I got to, we had Jerry Robinson. We had Ray Bell, Frank Dynamite Stevens. I've seen linebackers play. This kid, he's a whole different ball game. So, yeah, I think Tampa's done a hell of a job doing that. Bill's Bill. They talking about Belichick, that Patriots fell off. First of all, he had a majority of starters, maybe half of his defense didn't even report. Right. Didn't even report. He lost the GOAT. He had, and his quarterback, who I think will prove everybody wrong, COVID showed it had lasting effects on people. Bill would have won 8 or 9 last year with the group he had. He had his legs cut out from under him. Yet they were professional, they're competitive. The Buffalo game, the Seattle game, could have went either way. Bet on Bill. That's what I always say. I bet on Bill. Well, if he gets those guys back, they'll be good.
Well, no, he's the best, But, I grew up a Celtic fan, and, Wayne Embry was the backup center for Bill Russell.
Oh, man, great, yeah.
And he told my brother, what you're saying, it doesn't matter if you're different, it doesn't matter if you all play together. And the Celtics were always accused of being too white when I was a little kid, but they all loved each other as players, and they all brought different. Everybody could do something different, and that's why they would keep winning, and everybody resented them from the outside because they were so great. I mean,
when you have Arnold Red Auerbach, the
yes, sir,
and I had a pleasure of interviewing Red.
I met him,
and I was enamored with him, and I asked about his concept because what I do on the show, ProView, we just interview individuals one at a time, and you already saw what they did. I want to know why they did it, and I want to know who helped them develop it. And you listen to Auerbach and Coach Thompson, God rest his soul, who I had the pleasure of working with for 12 straight years. Red was outstanding in high school and in college. He's a gym rat. He's a gym rat.
Right.
Yeah. And so the thing that I use from Auerbach, Arnold, he got John Havlicek, Hondo, who was a starter. He said, John, I need you to come off the bench. Mm-hmm. Now, that's unheard of because every kid wants to start. Yes. Anybody tells you they don't want to start, they're lying. But I always look at guys like Pat Beverly, who I adore. I look at what Hondo Havlicek represented, and he said, well, why? He said, you're our best 5. But when the opponent when they substitute, they're going to go down from their top 5 to where the 6th guy is not good enough to start. Mm-hmm. Then we bring you in. We just off-center the talent. So we're better now. When you're in the game, I'm going to pay you like a starter, but I need you to trust me on this one. Well, you saw the results.
Well, you know what, the thing I loved Havlicek, he was my favorite player. When I was 9 years old, I said, Lord, please let me meet him someday. And when my brother got in the league, I did. I went to his final games when he made the last 10 shots. And the thing about him, people don't know, when he quit, he was the 3rd leading scorer of all time.
Oh, he was a beast.
And the Celtics, I know this for a fact, they've never had one person lead the league in scoring.
No, they don't have the most titles. Correction. They're tied with the purple and gold.
Yes, now I know. I don't count the dog.
No. Make correction. If we don't do this, let's do it right. Okay.
I know. I don't want to.
The Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes,
right now are sitting there. We don't want to talk about how many times, more times the Lakers have actually been in the finals. and just threw up all over themselves.
Well, if we're going to do that, then at least we win them all when we get in. Okay.
Okay, well, let's do the facts. Let's see who gets to 18.
No, I know.
Let's just do that.
It's
between you and I. Let's see who gets to 18 first. All right.
I just don't want to admit it. But you know what? He told them, if you ever lead the league in scoring, Auerbach told him this years and years ago, I'm fining you and you're paying for it. And they never did. And that's
don't need one.
A team game.
Yeah, don't need one.
And people ask me, who was Havlicek? I go, he was Bird before Bird. yeah, he was Bird before Bird.
Absolutely. I'm guaranteed he's inspired him. You know, Bill Russell, again, what a champion.
Oh.
And again, because our society is so warped that we don't consider a man with Brady. Every time you see Tom, he's doing all this. Right. Bill couldn't do that. You know, he had to put one of his nose on top of his head. He got 11. And it's amazing that the guy that's won more than anybody is only brought up by guys my age and your age.
Right. He gets thrown okay, I got a question. I got a question. Do you think he could have still won today, that he would have been a good player today?
In any era, at any time.
I agree.
The great ones are great.
Tell me I'm wrong.
It don't matter. It just doesn't matter.
Right.
Because and he did it, and he was defensively. You know, Wilt Chamberlain was the LeBron James of that era.
Right.
You know, that's the most talented. You talk about a Kentatupo being a freak. We saw the freak, Wilt. I mean, speed, power, agility, can do it all.
Solid as a rock. Yep.
It's unbelievable. So I'm happy now that the NBA has been infused with so much young talent. Mm-hmm. And you're going to eventually LeBron's going to be on the microphone. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he'll get one more before he does that, so I can talk trash to my son. My son, my oldest son. Every time I see this numbskull, he's got on Celtic green.
Oh, he's going numbskull. I'm a numbskull. Then.
Wow. How did that happen?
I mean, well, because he grew up in my house. So every Christmas, I'm in purple and gold all the time, right? And so they had to
give me a hard time.
I'm always purple and gold. And this numbskull, he's thrown himself. I mean, he was at game 3, I guess. In the play. He offered me for my birthday. Hey, Dad, you want to come up? I tell you what kind of nut he is. Hey, Dad, for your birthday, I was thinking about when you come up to Boston. I got tickets. They're playing the Nets. And I told him, are you serious? If I'm going to put it in my will, if I'm dead, take me to the Boston Garden. I said, unless the Lakers are there and it's a game 7, you can forget about it. And so, but he really did. He bought tickets. So him and his girl went, and they went. He's a fanatic.
About the Celtics.
You know, fanatic with the Celtic. I like people that aren't afraid to tell you who they back. You know, a lot of people they're very insane. I want you to know what I think, what I like, what I believe in, and what I don't believe in. I don't hide any of that. And so, you know, they were raised that in my house that they could do any team they wanted to, except Dallas. And as long as Dallas wasn't involved, they had a green light.
Right.
I mean, that's an understandable rule for the home. I agree wholeheartedly. Just don't like Dallas.
No.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, it's.
I think Washington's going to win a division this year. They should play Taylor Hanke. Is that his name? They should play
Heineke.
He's good. He's very poised. I watched him in that.
His sample size is encouraging, but that's why camp is. We'll roll it out and we'll see. You know the game.
Right.
I mean, he's got to have help. I don't believe any young quarterback can prosper without a substantial running game. It's got to have some diversity in your offense, or people can just eat him alive because he's still learning things. You play the great defensive coverages, they'll disguise things. He's still picking it up. But if you give him some balance, then I could agree with that. I could be proven wrong, but we'll see. Because I never get into that. I don't care who plays. I just want them to play better than they played in the last couple of decades.